The ripple effect of Black excellence, redefining leadership through collective empowerment. Imagine a world where success isn't measured by how high you climb, but by how many people you bring with you. A world where leadership isn't about being the first or the only, but about creating a legacy of collective advancement. This isn't just a dream, it's a powerful vision that's reshaping the landscape of Black excellence and empowerment in ways we've never seen before. I stand before you today, humbled and electrified, to share the revolutionary insights I've gained from an extraordinary conversation with ShaLonda Pitts. ShaLonda isn't just a visionary leader. She's a force of nature, a catalyst for change, who's challenging everything we thought we knew about success, leadership, and the true meaning of excellence. ShaLonda's work isn't just transformative, it's earth-shattering. She's not just breaking glass ceilings. She's reimagining the entire structure of professional advancement. Her impact on making our world more equitable, more inclusive, and ultimately better for all of us cannot be overstated. Through her tireless advocacy and groundbreaking approach, ShaLonda is igniting a movement that's redefining what it means to truly lead with purpose. Now, I want you to brace yourselves, because what I'm about to share with you isn't just another feel-good story about overcoming odds. It's a radical shift in perspective that will challenge everything you think you know about leadership and success. It's a call to action that will leave you questioning your role in shaping not just your own future, but the future of entire communities. Let's start with a surprising insight that ShaLonda shared, one that might just turn your world upside down. We've all heard the narratives about breaking barriers, about being the first or the only. These stories of individual triumph against all odds are inspiring, no doubt. But ShaLonda posits that true empowerment, true excellence, comes from something far more powerful and lasting: building sustainable ecosystems of support, mentorship, and collective advocacy. Take a moment to let that sink in. We're not talking about lone wolves breaking through. We're talking about packs rising together, lifting each other up, creating a tidal wave of change that transforms entire industries, entire societies. This shift from "I made it" to "we're making it together" isn't just semantics. It's a fundamental reimagining of what leadership looks like. It's a challenge to the very core of how we define success. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't individual success still valuable? Of course it is, but let's consider the long-term impact. When we focus solely on individual achievements, we create isolated instances of success. But when we build ecosystems of support, we create lasting change. We create pipelines for others to rise. We build legacies that extend far beyond our own careers. This brings us to the first key lesson ShaLonda wants us to internalize. Building strong networks of mentorship and peer support isn't just a nice to have. It's absolutely essential for sustained professional advancement. It's the difference between a moment and a movement. Let me share a powerful example that brings this concept to life. The Executive Leadership Council, or ELC, is a national organization dedicated to increasing the number of successful Black executives. Now, you might be thinking, okay, another professional organization. What's the big deal? But hold on to your seats, because the ELC isn't just about networking events and business cards. It's about creating a seismic shift in how leadership development happens. The ELC recognized a persistent, painful challenge: the stark underrepresentation of Black professionals at senior levels and their lack of access to influential networks. But instead of just lamenting this fact, they took bold, decisive action. They created comprehensive mentoring programs, intensive leadership training events, board readiness cohorts, and robust alumni networking platforms. In essence, they built an ecosystem of support that's changing the game. And the results? They're nothing short of revolutionary. And hundreds of members have catapulted into executive roles within Fortune 500 companies. There's been a surge in board appointments. Members report wielding greater influence within their industries than ever before. But here's where it gets really exciting. The impact goes far beyond individual success stories. The ELC has fundamentally redefined standards for inclusive business leadership pipelines. They've inspired similar organizations worldwide, all focused on advancing equity through community-driven approaches. This isn't just about changing individual lives. It's about reshaping entire industries, entire power structures. This is what ShaLonda means when she talks about building ecosystems. It's not just about one person making it to the top. It's about creating a sustainable model that continually produces leaders, that continually pushes for change, that continually expands opportunities for others. It's about creating a ripple effect that transforms the entire landscape of leadership. But let's be crystal clear. This kind of leadership, this unwavering commitment to collective advancement, requires immense courage. And that brings us to our second key lesson. Leadership rooted in equity demands the courage to advocate not only for yourself, but also to create opportunities for others who have been historically excluded. It's one thing to fight for your own seat at the table. It's an entirely different level of bravery to then turn around and pull up chairs for others. This is where true transformation happens. This is where we start to see systemic change that reverberates through generations. Consider the inspiring story of the New Leaders Council, or NLC, Fellows Program. This organization recognized a critical gaping hole in our leadership pipeline. There was a stark lack of pathways into traditional power structures for millennial and Gen Z leaders committed to social justice. Many of these emerging leaders, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds, face towering barriers in accessing mainstream leadership programs. So what did NLC do? They didn't just talk about the problem, they created a solution. A revolutionary 6-month tuition-free institute that emphasizes collaborative learning, local mentorships, and skills workshops tailored towards civic engagement and advocacy careers. They call it a leaderful model, and I absolutely love that term because it encapsulates this idea of collective leadership, of a community rising together, of a tide that lifts all boats. The outcomes have been nothing short of extraordinary. Alumni of this program have gone on to become executive directors of major organizations, shaping policy at the highest levels. They've become entrepreneurs, driving innovation in ways we've never seen before. But here's the most beautiful part. Many of these alumni then turn around and become mentors themselves within NLC's growing network. They're not just climbing the ladder, they're extending it to others, creating a self-sustaining cycle of empowerment and advancement. This is what courage and leadership looks like. It's not just about securing your own position. It's about using that position as a platform to create more opportunities, to challenge existing structures, to advocate fiercely and tirelessly for those who come after you. Now, I want to pause for a moment and acknowledge something important. This work isn't easy. It requires vulnerability. It demands that we confront uncomfortable truths about the systems we operate in. It often means being the lone voice, speaking up in a room full of people, content with the status quo. But as ShaLonda reminds us, this is where real change happens. This is where we start to shift entire paradigms. This is where we rewrite the rules of the game. And that brings us to our third key lesson, one that I want you to carry with you long after this talk ends. Celebrating Black excellence means acknowledging both individual achievements and the collective legacy we're building through collaboration, resilience, and innovation. Too often, when we talk about excellence, especially Black excellence, we focus solely on the individual accolades. The first Black CEO of a Fortune 500 company, the Black woman who broke into a traditionally white male field. These stories are important. Don't get me wrong. They inspire, they show what's possible. But ShaLonda challenges us to expand our definition of excellence in a way that's both more inclusive and more impactful. Let's look at a recent example that beautifully illustrates this point. In 2025, Microsoft UK held their Black Tech Achievement Awards. Now, on the surface, this might seem like just another awards ceremony, but dig a little deeper and you'll uncover a powerful story of collective excellence that's changing the face of the tech industry. 5 employees were celebrated at these awards, recognized for their innovation, advocacy, and visible representation among Black tech professionals. But here's the key. These winners didn't attribute their success solely to individual hard work. They pointed to the robust organizational and community support systems that enabled their growth. They acknowledged the shoulders they stood on, the hands that lifted them up. These award winners faced significant challenges. There was a notable underrepresentation of Black professionals in tech, especially Black women. There was a desperate need for visible role models and the ongoing challenge of overcoming deeply entrenched cultural and structural bias. But Microsoft didn't just leave these employees to fend for themselves in a hostile environment. They created internal resource groups like Beam that fostered cross-company mentoring and outreach. The award winners led university outreach programs, teaching AI skills to the next generation, planting seeds for future innovation. The company prioritized creating an inclusive culture that valued employee voices and celebrated their achievements. The impact? A tangible, measurable increase in Black representation and visibility, both internally and externally. But more than that, these awards catalyzed broader conversations sector-wide about the necessity of ongoing investment in inclusive talent pipelines. They set a new benchmark for other firms to emulate, raising the bar for the entire industry. This is what ShaLonda means when she talks about celebrating both individual achievements and collective legacy. It's recognizing that excellence doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's the result of intentional support, of creating environments where talent can thrive, of building systems that nurture and elevate not just one star, but entire constellations. Now, I want you to really let this sink in. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we think about success, about leadership, about excellence. We're moving from a model of scarcity, where there are limited spots at the top, and we have to compete against each other to get there, to a model of abundance. A model where we recognize that by lifting each other up, by creating supportive ecosystems, we all rise higher than we ever could alone. This isn't just feel-good rhetoric. This is a practical, powerful approach to creating lasting change. When we build these ecosystems of support, when we commit to this collective approach to excellence, we're not just changing individual lives. We're changing entire industries. We're reshaping what leadership looks like. We're creating new paradigms of success that are more inclusive, more sustainable, and ultimately more impactful. But here's the thing. This vision, as powerful and transformative as it is, doesn't just happen on its own. It requires action from each and every one of us. It demands that we step up, that we reach out, that we become the change we want to see in the world. And that brings me to the challenge that ShaLonda wants to leave us with today. A challenge that I hope will resonate in your hearts and minds long after you leave this room. She challenges every one of us, whether you're an established leader or just starting out in your career, to reach out intentionally this month and offer mentorship or sponsorship within your professional circle. Don't wait for someone to ask you. Be proactive. Open doors for others the way someone did for you, or the way you wish someone had done for you. This challenge is about more than just feeling good or doing the right thing. It's about recognizing that our greatest legacy won't be measured by the titles we hold or the individual accolades we accumulate. Our greatest legacy will be measured by how many people we uplift along our journey, by the strength of the networks we build, by the depth of the change we create. Imagine for a moment what could happen if every person hearing this talk took this challenge seriously. If each of us reached out to just one person this month to offer mentorship or sponsorship, think about the ripple effects that could have. Think about the doors that could open, the careers that could be launched, the innovations that could emerge. We're not just talking about changing individual lives. We're talking about transforming entire industries, about reshaping the very fabric of our professional world. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I'm not in a position to mentor anyone. I'm still figuring things out myself. What do I have to offer? But here's the truth. We all have something to give. Maybe you can't offer a high-level executive mentorship, but you can share your experiences with someone just starting out. Maybe you can't sponsor someone for a big promotion, but you can introduce them to your network. Every action, no matter how small it might seem, has the potential to make a significant impact. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with a final thought from ShaLonda. She reminds us that real progress takes more than just inspiration. It takes action. It takes commitment. It takes a willingness to be vulnerable, to share our stories openly, to challenge ourselves and each other toward greater accountability. But here's the beautiful part. When we do this work, when we commit to this collective approach to excellence and empowerment, something magical happens. We become part of something larger than ourselves. We become part of a movement, a shift in how we define success and leadership. We become architects of a future where excellence isn't the exception, but the rule. So I challenge you today. Take ShaLonda's words to heart. Reach out to someone this month. Offer your support, your mentorship, your sponsorship. Be part of building this ecosystem of empowerment. Because when we lift each other up, when we create these networks of support and advocacy, we don't just change individual lives. We change entire industries. We change the future. Let today be the day you commit to being not just a success story, but a catalyst for change. Let today be the day you decide to redefine what leadership means. Let today be the day you choose to be part of the ripple effect of Black excellence. The power is in your hands. The time is now. Will you answer the call? Thank you.